What's up, guys? It's Missy. I'm back with another SimCity Build It video. Today we're going to be doing the Contest Mayor's walkthrough for the 2022 CoM Guide. This is going to be for the low-level players. The high-level player videos have been completed. I am not 100% done with the documents yet, but I wanted to get all the videos recorded so I could put certain links in certain places. Once you see a thumbnail on this video and a YouTube description, that means that it is 100% complete and you can go ahead and print it. Before you print it, make sure that if you're, using this on a mobile device, if you guys are noticing that the letters are jumbled up, I know a lot of people have been asking me that lately. All you have to do is hit the top right corner. There's 3 dots here. Click print layout and it will adjust everything to look like it should. Okay? So before we begin, make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button. We're almost to 3,000 subscribers. Anytime you guys can voice out my name or videos, my channel, anything, that is much appreciated. I know everybody says this in the introduction to their videos. And it kind of just gets repetitive, you hear it and you don't think about it, but make sure that if you have a minute while you're just kind of sitting here listening to me blab, click the like, comment, boost up my algorithm. Okay. If you want to join us on Facebook, SimCity Build It, MissyAnne. We're up to almost 2,000 members on Facebook, so a lot of good spots to ask questions, find document links, get a hold of me if you want to join our group, or like I said, if you have questions. So definitely check that out. We do have a page and a group, 2 different things. So click like on the page and join on the group. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So the very first thing is there has been a CoM guide out there for you guys for the last, I want to say about a year and a half. A lot of my videos are coming up on 1 year to 2 years old, depending on what they are, of course. But mainly the CoM videos are coming up on 1 year. In that year, we have been introduced to streaks. So a lot of the really old CoM videos are pre-streaks, okay? So a lot of you guys, if you're new to the channel and you're going way, way back and you're not seeing me talk about streaks, a lot of this stuff still applies, but there's a lot of things that don't apply. So I wanted to get everything kind of condensed into one area for you guys. I'm going to put links in this document where I go in more detail on certain subjects. Those links are going to be, even if they're older, that means that those are up-to-date videos, okay? This particular guide is not written for just low-level players. It's going to be a combination of low and high-level players. So make sure that you're reading the portions that apply to low-level players, okay? If you don't know what type of technique you should be using, then you're going to obviously read the introduction to this lovely CoM guide. If you are a high-level player, it means that you are level 25 and have a regional map unlocked. 25 or higher with a regional. If you don't have a regional, then you can go all the way up to level 29 and play low-level CoM. But the moment that you hit level 30, whether you have a regional map unlocked or not, you have to play high-level CoM. You cannot combine high and low-level CoM. It does not work. Not using my technique. If you want to use your own techniques for CoM, go ahead. But if you want to win every week, I recommend that you learn my technique. Okay? All right. Now, if you are a low-level CoM player, that means that you fall below level 30 and you do not have a regional map unlocked. I highly recommend anybody here that is trying to play my low-level CoM guide that you guys are at a minimum of level 24. On the Missy's Building Guide, you guys should have leveled up to level 24 regardless of storage requirements. Okay? You can deal with the storage once you hit level 24. It's a great spot to find storage. I've got videos on that, but trust me, you really do need to be able to utilize gold tokens and extra factory slots and things like that. Certain airport unlocks. So make sure that you go up to level 24. Okay, now, in the lower leagues, when you guys are just starting out, you're going to hit level 11, you're going to unlock the Contest of Mayors. You're going to start playing CoM immediately. Why? Because it's very important that you rank up and that you earn as many tickets as possible. Do not use your gold tickets until Mega. Do only assignments that are quick, fast, easy, and cost efficient. No assignments that cost tokens or, cash and things like that. Okay? The technique for you low-level players is that you guys are going to try to stack up all of your 7 upgrades. Design challenge, submit design challenge counts as one of your upgrades. You're going to try to stack all those up before the streaks. Okay, so usually you want to aim to start the streaks around 20 tasks remaining, no sooner than like 24 tasks remaining, and that's if you're trying to save tickets or if you're, in a situation where you've got all 7, upgrades in your list. You've got like epic, monster, and then all factory productions. You have nothing else you can rotate safely without causing a risk to yourself or lowering your score. Then you would go ahead and you can do it, a little earlier than expected. But if it's too early, then you're just going to really hurt yourself. So usually what ends up happening is people will start the streaks early on, and then it gives them this huge, score boost, and then the game recognizes that they have too many points for where they're at, and then they just start getting garbage thereafter. Make sure that you do not do that. You have to start streaks no sooner than like 24 tasks remaining, right around that area. Unless, like I said, if it's like 25 tasks and you have this whole list of stuff that is absolutely untouchable, like feed, monster, epic project that is at a low value, and you guys will talk about that risk later, but every single week is going to be different. No rule applies 100% of the time. Okay, there's almost always an exception to every rule. And that's what makes CoM so damn difficult. All right, so you figured out if you're a high or low level player. If you want more details on that, you can click on this video link here. Now, the very first thing that you guys should do, and this, honestly, I cannot stress this enough, whether you're submitting your choices to me or not, you need to track your progress. It is absolutely essential to your success. And I would say that 99.9% of players don't. Okay? They just do their assignments, they don't take screenshots, and they just do whatever. It is extremely important that you track your progress. You need to take a screenshot every time you do an assignment with as many assignments visible in the photo, and then every time that you move to a rotatable task, take a bottom screenshot, or at least every 3 to 5 assignments, take a bottom screenshot. Okay? You're going to put them in order in an album. This way that you can go back and look and quickly flip through your stuff to see where your good doorways are. If you don't know how to do this stuff, you're not going to be able to play successfully. You might be able to win here and there because you're up against somebody who has no idea what they're doing. But essentially, one day you're going to come across one of my players, and you're probably not going to win ever again unless you're doing the things that they're doing. Okay? And I've had a lot of people come to me because they come against one of my players, and they're like, okay, now I need help. I was winning, and now I need help. More and more people are getting better at the contest of mayors. Be one of those people. I know you guys hear these things about doorways and CoM math and all this, and you guys really don't think that it needs to be learned. You think that you can just apply, certain aspects and it's fine. Like, oh, I don't really need to know the doorway aspect. I'll just ignore that and I'll just proceed on. No, you have to know this stuff, okay, to play good. And as you progress into high-level CoM, it's even more essential that you understand this stuff. So, make sure that you're tracking your progress. I've got 2 videos here that show you guys how to do it. The apps that you can use, how to organize this stuff. They're quick videos, so give them a look. So, all right, so let's begin into the first thing that you do in terms of the contest, setting the scene. Now, normally you set the scene because you're grading somebody, but you're not grading anybody, you're grading yourself, right? Why is it important that that you know what level you are? So I know how many factory slots you have available. Why does that matter? So that you know what you can prep, and if you can take certain amounts of downtime, double downtime, all that really does matter, okay? It also matters with the type of assignments that you have unlocked. Certain assignments get unlocked later on in the game. So the higher the level, the more assignments you get, or, factory productions or production tasks. It also tells us how many items you have unlocked. What, looking at your storage capacity, let's say that you are, level 29 versus level 24. You're still playing low-level CoM, but you have a lot more things that you can prepare in terms of storage or shop productions, and it's going to take up some more storage space. Now, League, this matters greatly on your choices because if you're in Mega, you're going to be making different choices than if you are in the lower leagues. Tasks remaining. Now, this is a huge one, and this is one that you're going to be looking at a lot, okay? Throughout your week, when you make a selection on your assignments, it is going to be based on tasks remaining, time remaining, risk, history of the assignments, which is going to be really hard to remember if you don't screenshot your stuff, doorways, what's going on in your game, what your schedule is, you know, is it nighttime for you? Are you going to bed soon? The rules of rotation, if you are before the streaks, after the streaks, all this stuff is going to have to be taken into account, okay? Now, if, let's say, briefly, that you have a war delivery for 3,000 points, okay? And it is the end of the contest. Your club is not in a war. How are you going to do it? Well, you probably drag your feet, right? So speed does matter. But let's say that it's not a war delivery for 3K. Let's say that it's a monster for 1,500 points. You never do the monster if it's below 2,000 points. Remember when I said there's an exception to every rule? Just about. Let's say it's your very last assignment. The last one. You're not getting one more, okay? And it's your highest assignment in your list. Do you do it? Yeah. You want to get as many points as possible, but let's say that there's a different equation to this. Let's say that, and this would be in your game category, that the monster isn't there for 3 damn days. CoM ends in 1 day. Do you want to pay hundreds of cash for how many extra points? And that's where value difference comes in. What if you have a coins assignment that's only 5 points less? Are you really going to spend hundreds of cash to gain 5 whopping points? No. Okay? Are there times where you would want to spend hundreds of cash to gain 100 points? Yeah, there are times. But that may not be one of them, and that is exactly why all of the criteria matters. Okay, it's going to change the outcome of your choices 100%. People think that you can look at a list without any of this back knowledge and just come to the right conclusion of what the answer should be. Just hand me a list at any point in time during your contest and I can say, yep, that's the right answer, and that may not be the case because too many variables, okay? And unless you can start to really look at these variables and know why you're looking at them, then you're not going to be able to play CoM competitively, especially moving forward. Task assessment. Okay, so everything that we're talking about with, value possibility and premium versus non-premium, all this stuff, you're not just going to know this stuff on the top of your head. It's going to take time to learn which assignments are premium, which ones are non-premium. What is premium? Premium is an assignment that can be worth up to 3,000 points. Non-premium is an assignment that cannot be worth 3,000 points. High premium is an assignment that can be worth over 3,000 points. Okay? Now, all of those are labeled in the CoM guide down below. It is very, very essential that you, every time you do your assignments at the beginning of the week, that you do a task assessment. Remember when I told you guys earlier that like 99.9% of you guys don't take screenshots? Well, that's the other thing that a lot of you guys don't do. You don't do a task assessment. You don't think it's necessary. You just, who cares? I mean, you glance over and go, okay, this one's premium. Now, you know how many people, let me get this going. Do you know how many people I have in CoM training that have been there for months, okay? They know the difference between non-premium and premium. They have the CoM guide right next to them, readily available, and every single week they mismark something as premium or non-premium or no touch or last resort or whatever. It's like they don't pay enough attention. It's not that hard when you have the answer sheet in front of you. If you don't start repetitively, refreshing your memory of what these assignments are and their rules to these assignments, you're not going to be able to properly play the contest, okay? So you go through and you're going to label everything as premium or non-premium, high premium. Then you're going to label everything in your CoM breakdown. You're going to break it down into subcategories of main, which a main task is a task in your list worth 2,000 points or higher. Doesn't matter if it's premium or non-premium. If it's in your list worth 2,000 points or higher, that makes it a main assignment, okay? Then you have rotatable assignment, and that is an assignment that is below the 2,000 point threshold. Then you have the no touch / cancel. That is an assignment that you either won't be doing for the duration of the contest or might have to be canceled at a later time when the right time is there, you know, if at all. So usually for you low level players, it's going to be an upgrade of high value. Okay, so let's say that you have an upgrade, regular residential, in your list for 2,400 points. And then you have one in your list that you have Latin and Old Town for 2,400 also. So now you have 3 of your main tasks taken up, all at 2,400 points. Which do you cancel and why? Well, it's not just the one that's been sitting the longest. That's usually one thing you want to take into account. But the Latin and the Old Town are high premium assignments. Why does this matter? Because their value possibility is higher than the regular residential. Regular residential can only be worth 2,400 points. If you cancel Latin or Old Town and they come back worth more, you're going to be in a worse situation. Whereas the regular residential, the worst thing that can happen is that it comes back worth the exact same amount as you canceled it for. So really the only thing you're risking is the cancellation, which you're risking that no matter which one you cancel. So you don't want to make things worse on yourself, right? Okay. Now, if a monster is less than 2,000 points, it is a no-touch task. You don't touch it for the duration of the contest, except, like I said, if you're not looking for opportunity and you have like maybe 2-3 assignments left at the end of the contest and it's your highest possible assignment, then yes, that would make more sense. But that is a really rare exception. Last resort rotatable. Now this one is one that a lot of people struggle with, okay? When you guys rotate your stuff for low level players, essentially what you're doing is you're rotating your best assignments, and then that doorway is going to get closed off with an upgrade at some point, okay? And then you're going to, move to your next one, and so forth. If all of your doorways get covered up too soon, you're going to be in a major problem. But when you get to the point where all you really have left is your last resort rotatables, and that would include coin at any value, repair and keys at the value of 1,200 only. So if they're higher than 1,200, then you can go ahead and do them. And then Epic Project is a last resort option, but should not be done before the streaks. Whereas the other 3, you want to do them before the streaks to bring in any factory productions and upgrades that are missing in your list. What will usually happen, though, is a lot of people will end up in a situation where they've run out of doorways. All of their upgrades are in, they've got some factory productions, and they've got way too many assignments left, and they're already to the point where they have to do coins and repair and keys and things like that. You cannot do those assignments if you are not close enough to the streaks. If you have any more than 30 assignments left, you have to find a different way to open up your doorways, okay? Now, you never cancel an upgrade any later than 20 to 25 assignments in max, okay? You have to have enough time for it to come back. The lowest that you can possibly go with tasks remaining to start streaks is 9 tasks. That will allow you to complete all 6 streaks with 4 tasks per streak, saying that you would be using all of your tickets that way. Now, as a last resort option, usually what you do is you try to stack up all 7 upgrades. If you're noticing that, once you hit 30 tasks remaining, you should have at least 5 out of 7 of your upgrades in your list. If you don't, you need to really start thinking about it here soon. So keep rotating, you know, and trying to get it in there. And then right around 24, 25 tasks remaining, you want to start thinking about, okay, what else can I open up here? At 20 tasks remaining, you have to, you know, rotate in the coins, the keys, the repair, and try to get those upgrades in. Once you get the upgrades in, if you have anything else that you can rotate to try to secure long factory productions like sugar, feed, you know, textiles, glass. Textiles not super big deal, but, you know, feed and glass are kind of a big deal. Then you're going to want to start the streaks at no later than 9 tasks remaining, okay? I had a guy this week, he's brand new to the contest. He didn't move quickly enough at all. He has 1.5 days left. He hasn't started the streaks. He canceled an upgrade way too late. You know, he shouldn't have canceled. And then, to top it off, he he didn't get all 7 of his upgrades in his list because he didn't, you know, try to rotate around his doorways. He was working one doorway for a very long time, and it was a good doorway. But because he didn't start, you know, moving things around when he got, you know, really close to streaks, he was in a position where he didn't have his upgrades. So we started moving things around. He got them all down to 6 out of 7 upgrades. So he has 1 upgrade still out there. If he ends up in a situation where he fails the streak, because of that, then he'll have to work his main list. But what's funny is that he has 1.5 days left, and he gets 3 tasks into streak 1, and he gets glass for double downtime. That's 10 hours, and he's still on streak 1. Now, do you see why it's so important for you guys to move quickly? How's he going to finish? What if streak 2 he gets feed or glass? I mean, I think he has feed secured, but what if he gets glass again? That's another 10 hours. He'll be pretty much done. I mean, there won't be enough time to finish the contest before it ends. You have to move quickly, especially low-level players, okay? And you really shouldn't be doing long factory productions that are in your list unless it's within the first 25 assignments. That gives you enough time to get them back if they're going to be repeat tasks. Okay, let's see here. These tasks are normally done before the streaks to bring in any last-minute upgrades, long factory productions, talked about that. Limited time assignments. What this means is that these assignments have to be done in a certain time frame. So, for example, war, okay? War can only be done during war. War assignments can only be done during war, so assignments like launch 3 attack and club wars, that would be a limited time assignment. Monster is limited time because he leaves. Epic is limited time once you open it, and it's limited also. So once you run out of houses, you're not going to be able to do epics anymore. So then you also have war cards. Those are also limited. Once you run out of war cards, you're not going to be able to do that unless you add more. Same thing as war boosters, okay? He also, this player also rotated in Monster and Dozer right before the streaks. Those are high algorithm assignments with high risk. You can't do the Dozer repeatedly. I mean, that's a hard thing to find, right? And Monster is extremely expensive. Once you kill it, you got to pay to bring it back in. So those were 2 big mistakes he made. Plus, you're trying to get an upgrade in your list. If you have something with an extremely high algorithm, that means it's going to come back in the main list. So that means that that doorway is just going to be covered up with that same damn assignment that you did a minute ago. That would defeat the entire purpose of getting that doorway covered up with a different assignment. See my point? Whereas the keys and the repair, you can usually get 3 to 4 rotations out of them. And usually, like I said, you're really close to the streaks. You get your upgrades, you jump a different door, and then you're able to do the keys and the repair in the streaks, which is nice because a lot of times the streak assignments are garbage in points, and this allows you to kind of have a little bit more points in the streaks. Not always, but sometimes. Okay, we talked about what a premium is, and a non-premium, and a high premium. Now, here's where I went through and I did a task assessment. This is order of rotation for high-level players. Let's see. That's high level. Okay, low level players. Rules on upgrades. Now, I want you guys to pay actually, let's talk a little bit about the rules of rotation for you guys, or the order of rotation for you guys. The order of rotation for you guys is going to be your highest premium or non-premium with best algorithm, least amount of risk, best opportunity, okay? A lot of people don't realize that for example, let's say that you are trying to, a lot of people try to play high-level CoM as low-level players. So let's say that you're a low-level player, and you have a 1,600 keys versus a 1K VU. A lot of people would do the VU, right? Do not do that. As a low-level player, you cannot afford to do that. What's going to happen is you might get it. You're probably going to get a 3K kickback, but you have an extremely high chance of it becoming an upgrade, which is exactly why we do not do that. Now, remember when we were talking about history of the assignments and doorways and, premium, non-premium, how many upgrades are in the list, what's going on in your game? Let's say that it is the start of the contest. You don't have any, if not hardly any, upgrades stacked up in your list, okay? And you have a 1,600 keys and a 1K VU at the bottom of your list. Keys haven't even been done yet. You would go with keys. Why? Because doing the VU comes at a very high risk, being that you don't have a lot of upgrades in your list. Keys haven't been done yet. We just listed all these reasons, right? But let's say that it's the opposite. Let's say that keys has already been done a few times, and it keeps coming back for 1,600 points. And that you have a few upgrades stacked up, four upgrades in your list. You don't have anything else that comes decent in value or opportunity, then yes, it would be better to go with the VU. Because you have a less amount of risk, and then you don't have to worry about, the history of the keys just keep coming back, right? You can do the keys again later if need be, but right now you need to break that cycle, okay? So it really comes down to what's going on in your list overall. And that's why you can't just choose between this assignment and this assignment. There's too many variables. All right, the goal is to stack up all 7 upgrades in this before the streaks. However, if they come in too fast, you will need to cancel, as you won't have enough doorways to make it to 20 tasks remaining. Now, usually you want to cancel your highest upgrade with the lowest value possibility. So if you have a 3K Paris and a 3K Tokyo and a 3,600 Old Town, you're obviously going to try to cancel the Old Town, right? But if you have like a 3K Paris, 3K Tokyo, which one do you cancel? The one that's been sitting longer, and or the one that is holding your good doorway? If your good doorway is, your really good doorway is being held by one of those, then go with the good doorway one, okay? Now, you will need to cancel, as you won't have enough doorway. Okay, you'll need to cancel if you have more than 2 main place values taken up and are within 20 to 25 tasks remaining. So if you have more than 2 of your main task value points taken up and you are within 20 to 25 tasks remaining, you need to cancel. Do not cancel after 25 tasks remaining. It's way too close to the streaks for you to have to try to get it back, okay? Usually, and another thing that a lot of people do, is they cancel right after they get the upgrade. Never do that unless you absolutely have to, like you're at 25 tasks remaining and it's the only choice you have. What you want to do is you want to do a few rotations to see if you're going to keep getting upgrades in your list, because if you're just going to get an upgrade right back, it defeats the entire purpose of canceling. A War Booster assignment is one that has a high risk at yielding an upgrade. So let's say that, you're 5 tasks in and you've already had 2 upgrades roll in. Rotate the War Booster down at the bottom, see if it's going to kick you back another one. Keep going until you stop getting upgrades. Once you get all your upgrades stacked up, if it's just going to keep coming in repeatedly, then you can figure out which ones you need to cancel. That way you can get them canceled sooner rather than later. Otherwise, you're going to end up being stuck with them, and you don't want that to happen, okay? This is probably going to be one of the hardest things that you have to deal with, is the upgrades. Let's see. Do not cancel if you have less than 25 tasks remaining, or it's supposed to say, yeah, that's right, okay. Do not cancel, or wait, if an upgrade just came in, make sure you don't cancel it right away. We just talked about that. All right, how to rotate for low-level players, starting with your highest main task, best op, best algorithm, lowest risk. Once all main tasks are done, you move to your next highest best op if it's premium, then highest algorithm. If it's non-premium, then lowest algorithm. Either way, you know, like for example, 1600 keys versus 1600 repair. The keys usually come back within 2 to 4 rotations and usually come back with more points than the repair. So usually you would do that task over the repair. You know, not that you won't do the repair later, but when it comes down to, you know, each one, then you pick that one. A lot of people think that if the value is equal, that it doesn't matter which assignment you do. That is absolutely not true, okay? If you have a 3K VU, a 3K delivery to Tokyo, and a 3K upgrade war card, which do you do first and why? Well, you do the war card because it's faster. You can get it done instantly, right? Then which one? Then VU has a higher algorithm than the delivery to Tokyo. So if you do the VU first, then you can do the Tokyo. You might get VU right back again. Always pay attention to all the rules of the assignments. Don't just assume that just because it's equal in value, then that means that it doesn't matter what order it gets done in. It absolutely matters. Okay, tip. Low-level players consider factory and shop productions as premium. Because they are unable to do upgrades, you wouldn't want to rotate in your 1K premiums the way that a high-level player does, as it has a higher risk of bringing back an upgrade. So you have a 1400 paint versus a 1K VU, you're more than likely going to go ahead and do the paint. Depending. If it's your bad doorway, and you just keep getting garbage, you're getting these 1500 point assignments, or if you have some upgrades in your list and there's no risk there, if VU hasn't been tried yet, then yeah, you can go with VU. Okay, following a storyline. Now this video is very, very important that you guys watch this. When you begin any week of the contest, you need to follow along with the assignments that have been done, what doorways are good, and the storyline. The storyline is your week assessment per tasks. Okay, so like we were talking about, every time you do an assignment, snap a screenshot, label it. If you get a 2K VU in, then you mark it as premium, and like in your head, label it. Say, okay, that's premium, that's main task, good opportunity, done it twice now, so being said it's at main task value, it's being good to you, right? The history of the assignment, if it's being good to you, that's a good thing. So you just keep going, right? Okay. You know, is there any risk with this? Just go through it in your head, and then you'll be able to pick your right assignments. Now, basically, you're narrating your week. That's what a storyline is. If you guys have watched my walkthroughs, that's basically what I'm doing. I'm going through your week, and I'm narrating your week. I'm saying, okay, this is what you had, this is what you did, this is why you did it. All right. Good doorways. Locating your good doorways is very, very easy to do for high-level players, not so easy for low-level players. Now, for high-level players, they can just do their main tasks, their premiums, and then they just get their repeat tasks, and they're all good to go. For you guys are going to be rotating out your doorways to the point where you're not really working one doorway for a long period of time, right? You know, essentially, a perfect scenario would be that you get 5 to 7 tasks out of each doorway, roughly, maybe even less, and then usually you start with like 2 or 3 upgrades in your list. So let's say you got 7 assignments and you got all 4 upgrades, that would be 28 assignments, right? If it worked out in a perfect world. But basically your doorways are going to be covered up throughout the contest. So you just want to make sure that you're kind of following along with where your doorways are, what for cancellation purposes, or for the fact of the ones that are not covered up with upgrades. So if you have an upgrade. If your good doorway is covered up by a 1K upgrade, oh well. You don't cancel it. That's just how it is. You just keep going. Okay, you're gonna get more than one good doorway. But if you're in a situation where, you know, you've got all your upgrades in your list and your good doorway is under the keys for 1600, and then you have like a 1200 shop production or something, it may be more wise to do the keys first, then the shop production to try to get the keys on the bad doorway slot when it comes back versus your good doorway slot. Like I said, all variables are going to kind of be different. All right, now, low-level players, like I told you guys, you consider shop and factory productions as premium because you guys cannot afford to do you can't afford to do your highest actual premiums like high-level players do. That normally results in 3K upgrades. So, for a lot of you guys, let's say it's a 1K VU versus a 1400 paint. You do the 1400 paint, a high-level player would do the VU. Loops and repeat tasks. So basically these are two totally different things. Loops are assignments that are in the exact same sequence repeatedly and only can be broken when you change doorways. So if you get VU and then you get Tokyo upgrade, or Tokyo delivery, VU, Tokyo delivery, it's going to go back to back to back to back until you do a different door and break that cycle, okay? Whereas a repeat task is different. That is a task that you just keep getting throughout the contest, and it's usually a task that has a lower algorithm, so it's basically pertains to this week. For example, you probably don't get ladders very often, if ever you get that assignment. But this week you've had it 3 times. It has a low algorithm to it normally. Normally you would never get that assignment, well, you know, much less 3 times in a row. Or 3 times in one contest. So that would be considered one of your repeat tasks. If you're noticing that you're having repeat tasks, then you might want to prep for those. Uptime and downtime. Now for low-level players, this is really important that you guys learn what reverse rotation is versus uptime and downtime. A lot of players get a few bad assignments and they jump right into the rules of reverse rotation and they screw their whole week up. Every week that you play the contest, you're going to have uptime and downtime where you get, you know, good assignments, then a few crappy assignments, then good assignments, and your average is going to go up, down, up, down, up, down. Sometimes it's drastic. It's like the whole entire first half of the contest is terrible, and then the second half is really good, or vice versa, right? But sometimes it's the entire contest is trash. Now, if you're noticing that you have this huge downtime, then you treat it like reverse rotation and you do your highest non-premiums with highest algorithm rates until the downtime has cleared, and then you go back into your uptime. Only if the downtime is drastic. We're not talking about, you know, a couple of assignments and a little bit of a bad average. We're talking like every assignment that you're doing is giving you straight up garbage, like 1,000 point assignments. You're running like a 1K average no matter what you touch. That's saying that you don't have any high valued upgrades blocking you, okay? Reverse rotation is rare, but it is a major pain in the butt. Definitely check out the reverse rotation walkthroughs and the videos if you have a chance. I'm going to go ahead and link them in here for you guys, but definitely check those out. Okay, streaks should never be done at the start of the contest, as it will lower your task values for the rest of the contest. That's high-level players, low-level players. Before doing the streaks, you need to start, before doing the streaks, start thinking about doing streaks at around 20 tasks remaining. If you are low on upgrades, like I was talking to you guys earlier, you guys should really start thinking about your upgrades a little bit sooner than 20 tasks. You know, probably like 24, 25 tasks remaining. You need to start trying to get those upgrades back in, okay? Long factory tasks, list of tasks to secure in your main list. Long factory tasks that you can't afford to do over and over. So let's say that you get to 20 tasks remaining. You have all your upgrades, You have available doorways, but you haven't secured any long factory productions. You don't start the streaks. You're trying to secure your factory productions first, right? So let's say that you have a 1,600 keys sitting there and all your upgrades are in. You hit 20 tasks remaining. You do the keys. You keep doing as many assignments as you can afford to do without dropping your average too bad. And try to secure your long factory productions and start your streaks no later than 9 tasks remaining, okay? You don't want to end up in a position where you have to do feed over and over. If you're noticing that you're not getting your upgrade, there is a technique that you guys can do, whether it be for upgrade or factory productions. For example, I had somebody who was having a really hard time getting their last upgrade in. They got to the point where they were down to their last like 4 assignments that they could utilize. So they had, I think it was like 15 assignments or 14 assignments total that left. They could only take it down to 9. They were not getting it no matter what they did. So we use a technique where, and it's a risky technique, but it may need to be done, okay? It's where you start the streak and then you do an assignment in your main list after the streak has been started to try to break that cycle. And it does usually work. You usually get the upgrade or the factory production that you're going for. But it is risky because you know that if you don't rotate that assignment, you know, or no, that's if you cancel a streak. You have 5 minutes between the time that you cancel the streak to rotate in your main list to try to get the upgrade to go away. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But if you do the streak 1, task 1, when you complete it, you're going to get task 2, and it's risky that the upgrade could come in that time frame, but usually it doesn't. And usually you can then rotate your main list, okay? And it usually comes in the main list. Now, like I was talking earlier with upgrades, if you guys start off your week with an upgrade in the streak, you will need to cancel that upgrade, but not immediately. You want to cancel it when you have right around 5, no less than 4 to 5 upgrades in your main list. Otherwise, you run the risk of it being replaced with another upgrade, right? So you want to have the least amount of risk when you cancel, and do not cancel the streak any later than 25 tasks remaining, okay? If you are level 24 and you have the full level 24 experience bar, and you get the regular residential only, you can go ahead and do that if it's in the streaks or if it's in the main list worth main task value, okay? Otherwise, you're just going to have to deal with it. All right, so the things that you want to secure, like I said, are going to be long factory productions and upgrades, but you can start this streaks with, you can do long factory productions, right? It's the upgrades you can't do, so those are the most important. Okay, list of tasks that you can rotate before the streaks to bring in upgrades and factory productions. These are last resort rotatable assignments, except for epics. You do not rotate the epic project before the streaks. You really, really, really should try to avoid that. Even if it's at main task value, because you guys can only donate 200 points to an epic. Epic usually comes back repeatedly, over and over and over. If it comes back too many times, you're going to be stuck on a 12-hour downtime for the streaks. That's going to be a problem, okay? Don't do that. Tasks you rarely / never do 10 to 15 assignments before streaks. If there is high risk, each week will vary for both high and low level players. So factory assignments, okay? Low level has a much higher risk because of the limited factory slots, meaning let's say that you guys are at 30 tasks remaining and you get feed for like 1,400 or something and you have feed prepped. Don't even bother, okay? You've only got 10 tasks before you start streaks. It's not even at main task value. It's not even worth it. Just leave it. But let's say that you started your week with that assignment. You would want to get it done usually if you have to. If you know you're going to have to do it at some point, sooner rather than later. But if you don't think you're going to have to do it, if you've got plenty of available doorways, then try to avoid long factory productions. If they're at main task value, that's a whole nother thing, okay? So basically, constantly looking at risk. Can I afford to do this assignment multiple times? Thinking about double downtime. Now, regional coins, regional HQ, that's for high-level players. Epics, we just talked about that. Monster, for both high and low-level players. Never rotate the monster before the streaks because of its extremely high algorithm and how much cash it will cost you, okay? Neo coins, you guys don't have those. Land expansions, you never do this task before the streaks. It has too high algorithm and unrealistic cost for repeated completion. So you can't really safely do that task over and over again. I mean, where are you going to come up with all the rares, right? So epics, okay, so learning the rules to every task. And we're going to get into that on part 2 of the video. So you guys definitely check out part 2. I'm also going to be putting together a playlist for you guys so that you guys have one spot where you can watch the videos that pertain to this guide.